Nigeria is often celebrated for its wealth in oil, minerals, and a booming population. But what many don't talk about is the incredible richness of its people. Hundreds of tribes and ethnic groups, each with vibrant cultures, languages, and ways of life. For a country this diverse, building a strong shared national identity isn't just important, it's essential. Now, this has, however, remained a challenge, one that many believe has slowed Nigeria's democratic progress and economic growth. So what's being done to change that? What strategies are being considered to foster patriotism, civic responsibility, and national unity? Well, we sat down with Lanre Isa-Onilu, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, to unpack these questions and explore Nigeria's quest for a cohesive national identity. Thank you for having us in your office.
It's my pleasure. You're welcome.
Thank you. I would like to start with an understanding of the mandate of your agency.
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying the agency was a child of necessity.
Okay.
It came to existence about 1987, 1988. It had always been a department in the Ministry of Information. You know, there has always been that need for an intervention, you know, for the need to mobilize Nigerians, you know, for patriotism and for love of the country. So the mandate essentially is dual. The agency is standing on two pedestals. One is to communicate government policies, programs, and projects to the people. So when I say government, the drafter of the act believe that NOA should not be partisan. So it is not just the federal government. The law empowers us to communicate programs, policies, and projects of the three tiers of government. So federal, state, and local government. And that's why we have the enormous, structure, the infrastructure of the NOA that gives us 818 office locations nationwide, with the headquarters, 6 zonal directorates in each. We have directorate in each geopolitical zone. Then we have the state directorate, the 36 state and FCT. And then we have offices in all the 774 local government. So our mandate is to communicate government policies, like I said, programs and projects. So meaning that our state office in Abia, for instance, is to work with the government of Abia, notwithstanding that it is not of the same political party with the government at the center. So that is the configuration, of that particular leg of our mandate.
Before you go into the mandate, how do you draw the line?
There is no line to draw. We are communicating government to Nigeria.
Yeah, but different governments, different politics, different parties.
Yeah, you see, every government has its manifesto.
Yes.
So a Labour governing party, for instance, in Abia, for instance, as I've said, is to relate whatever is doing to the public.
True.
It has something to do with, so we don't work with any political party.
Okay.
We do not associate even with political party. And you don't see any of our staff going to political events, except in our duty to communicate, voter education, and things like that. Otherwise, we do not associate with political party. So we team up with the government in power, in the local government, at the state level, and at the federal level, and ensure that whatever that government is doing, Nigerians are aware within our locality. That is the first leg of our mandate.
Yes.
And that first leg also has a flip side. We don't just communicate, we also generate feedback
Okay.
all across the country. So every 2 weeks, we generate what we call Pulse of the Nation reports, where we collate people's reactions, complaints, and feelings, even commendations, all across the country every fortnight. And so we prepare the report and ensure that it gets to the president, it gets to the vice president, to the national security advisor, because the issue of security is a major issue in this country. So it gets to the National Assembly, the leadership of the National Assembly, all the people that would require it, the Minister of National Planning, Minister. So as input into policy making, so that they can see what people are talking about, the feelings of the people in all the corners of the country. So this comes every 2 weeks, and every quarter we also do a major report, to get feedback to government. So we don't just deliver messages to Nigerians. We also take messages from Nigerians back to government. And we influence a lot of things through that process. So that is one leg of our mandate. The second leg of the mandate is value orientation, to help create a country where people are united, where we have peace, national cohesion, and we all are able to develop what we call commonality of characteristics. That is a common identity, a shared identity, and a purposeful lifestyle that is clearly defined, where the uniqueness of Nigerians is shared by every Nigerian, and we all are subscribers to that identity. So that is the second leg of our mandate. So those are the 2 legs of the NOA's mandate.
Lovely. Let me quickly understand from you this issue of feedback. Sounds very interesting, but has this always been something the agency does?
Yeah, it's been there. The only issue is how effective has it been. When I came, for instance, I found out that the first 2 months I was getting this because I have to sign on every letter that convey the report to the various government functionaries. And I found out that it's difficult for me to even read the report myself because it is heavy on text.
Okay.
And nobody has got the time to read, pages of text. A report could come, with illustrations, graphs, charts, summary form that with 2 pages, you can have something that should have been 40 pages reduced to 2 pages. And people can get the fact of the matter, because it's just an input into policy decision, So I knew there must be training. So the first thing, and that was very important to me, feedback, So the first thing we did, that department was my first, area of focus. So we ensured that we upskill them, and we had to, had some form of collaboration with the National Bureau of Statistics, because they are, they do reports all the time, very concise and readable. So we work with them. We are still working with them till today to continue to improve. So we've had a lot of improvement. And so we are getting feedback, even from government, that the report are making huge impact.
Okay.
Yeah, because they can now read it. I also am able to read it before signing on the letters, to convey those reports.
Okay, so I'm wondering now, after these reports are done, are they made public?
They are not for public consumption.
Okay.
The government messages are for the public.
Yes.
Public messages
are across the line.
The government.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to find out because it's interesting, and I find this really interesting because sometimes people wonder, do government know what we are feeling?
Yeah.
You understand, and it's nice to understand that they do.
They do.
So it's clear that from the work your agency does.
Yeah.
You feel the temperature of the people and communicate it to them. This is nice to know. But I would like you to help us, because a lot of, NOA has always been there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when you hear or people start wondering about things happening in Nigeria, maybe things not being done right, either, like you said, in behavior or whatever, they'll be like, what is NOA doing? Do you get that perception from the public?
Not just getting the perception. I was part of that perception.
Okay.
Before I came here, just about 2 years ago, I actually believe NOA should be scrapped.
Wow.
I thought it had outlived its usefulness. I knew the country, everybody knew, we all agreed, there was a consensus that the country would require an agency like NOA. But if it was not serving its purpose, so why not just scrap it? That's why it's always important for us to be careful when we just sit down in judgment when we don't have all the facts. Within 2 weeks when I got here, I realized that it had nothing to do with the agency. It had nothing to do with the personnel. They were committed, they were experienced and competent. But successive government did not just pay lip service, completely abandoned the agency. So in spite of accepting the importance of the task that the agency has been charged with, they do nothing to get the agency working. So I realized, and that I was happy, because my first headache was, how do you deal with an agency that was moribund? Where the staff were believed, the personnel were believed to be completely disinterested. But I found to the contrary. So my first problem, my first challenge was solved, which means the agency was not the issue. So if the government was the issue, what are we going to do? I'm lucky on all fronts. The next thing is, I'm running an agency that is under the Ministry of Information and National Orientation.
True.
We can't do so much if the ministry is not willing. If you're running behind a slow coach, you can't go far. So I had to look around and see if the ministry will enable us to be able to work. But like I said, I'm lucky on all fronts. I have a minister who is a gentleman, a fantastic, administrator, a committed Nigerian, and a friend who has given more than 100%, support. We run this together, so it makes it easy for me on that front as well, because you could have the agency being ready, you could have this personnel, energetic and willing, but if the ministry sits on everything and makes it difficult to work, we will just be fighting and then nobody does get anything done. But with him, it was all systems go. And the minister and myself, that is the ministry and the agency, also can do little. If you have a president who does not understand what it means to have a cohesive nation, where the citizens are mobilized, are united, who does not understand the meaning of unity. So we are both also lucky to have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is committed to the unity of the country, who is completely, if we say he is tribalized, we actually, it's more like an insult. He does not even know tribe. He does not know religion. It's just one Nigerian, true and true. So when you have such a principle, it makes it easy for both the minister and myself and all the people involved to be able to get things done with his full support. So this is what has made things work for us.
Okay, so but since you came in here now 2 years, if I understand you correctly, how has it been? The task before you is one many people feel is the issue with Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Just as I'm sure you mentioned as you were talking about how they paid lip service. Some people believe our major problem is we don't have our orientation is bad in a lot of ways and faulty. And that should be addressed before we start building bridges and all that. So,
fantastic.
So how have you gone about this mandate since you come?
Thank you very much. That's our opinion as well. As they say from the part of the country where I come from, that you could, as a parent, build mansions. But if you don't train your children, they're going to sell the mansions for peanuts. So you should rather train your children, then they will build several mansions.
More than you even did.
So, and is it the easiest way to get applause from the public is what had been happening in the past. Create a beautiful slogan, a lovely mantra, produce lovely jingles, and then deploy it, and then people say NOA is working. But that had been done in the past. It had not produced exactly the kind of result we would hope for. Otherwise, we would not be where we are. Take your mind back to the mid-80s. We had a situation when they talk of JAPA now. I tell them that if you're old enough, you will know that this JAPA is more emotional than economic. It's not as economic as people make it to look. The real economic JAPA happened in the mid-80s in this country when poverty in its full regalia was prowling on the streets of Nigeria. And Nigerians were living in, massively leaving the country. And say you go to Europe and America now, Ghana was a lovely country to go to that period. Being a republic was an option. That was how bad it was in the mid-80s. General Muhammadu Buhari, as at that time, was the head of state. He did a national broadcast where it was actually practically pleading with Nigerians to please stay so that we could salvage the country together. And that was a popular mantra, a very lovely jingle. Many Nigerians will still remember it. Andrew, please don't check out.
I want to check. I'm checking out.
You saw that. So take it further. During the time of Akuyili, she actually came up with a project, Brand Nigeria. And she came up with a lot of jingles. Nigeria, good people, good nation. And she did her best. Yet we are where we are.
There were problems of not, they were just...
It is that we're deeper than that.
Okay.
We had Change Begins With Me. Another lovely idea. So, but we found out we had to do a lot of study. 2 years ago when I came, we brought a lot of Nigerians from the academic, from the media, from the civil society, youth, women, from different sectors. We did, a lot of study. I found out that two things were missing. So, what was the first thing? The first thing that was missing was all effort had been geared towards getting citizens to do the right thing.
Yes.
The leadership, what about them? It takes the two sides to come to the table and show commitment to national development for it to work. So we discovered that Nigerians are actually good followers. So there must be good leadership. And so we also found out that leadership is narrowly defined in Nigeria, which is another challenge. It's a problem.
Narrowly?
Yes. When they talk of leadership in Nigeria, people think of political leadership.
Yes.
But leadership starts from the family unit.
Okay.
If the parents do not do their job, there's nothing any political leader can do. If the leaders in school do not do their own, there's nothing anyone can do. If the market leader, if the motor parks leader, if the executives of the carpenters, the mechanic, the hairdresser, all these cadence of leadership are part of the leadership conundrum that must be responsible, must live up to their own responsibility, and then followers. As a driver of a commercial bus, you are a leader. The DPO in police station is a leader. The editor in the newsroom is a leader. So we found out that leadership must be defined, fully, so that everybody understands that wherever you are and you are, supervising anything, then you hold the followers, your own side of the bargain, so that the followers also can repeat.
So that was your first finding.
So we found out that the first finding was that there's a divide on the followers,
yes,
not on the leadership, and that leadership must be broadly defined.
Okay.
The second thing that we found out that was missing is, even after you have done that, where are the institutions to nurture Nigerians on the values that we have agreed on? There were no institutions to nurture. And we did studies of several countries that today you could say have some national identity, and they have committed citizens. We found out that they have documented value system, and they also created institutions to nurture their citizens.
Okay. If
you go to United Kingdom today, their primary school, the first 3 years, they learn about values. Not so much about arithmetic and whatever. It's about what it means to be a British. If you go to America, even as an international student, you learn the values of America. If you go to Japan, they have it. Indonesia, they have it. China, they have it. South Africa has it.
But what some will say we do. In our social studies, we have where we are taught citizens, what you're supposed to do, how the role you're supposed to play, your duties.
That is the mistake.
Okay.
Yeah. In the past, we used to have what we call civic education.
Civic, yes.
Which was not taken.
It was taken out.
Taken out. Even if you have it there, it's a national policy.
Okay.
Huh? And I'm not talking of a particular government.
Yes.
Just like our constitution does not belong to any ruling.
No.
So that's the way value system is done. It has to be properly documented, which all citizens agree to it, to say, yes, this is who we should be. And that's what you now take into the curriculum and into all other institutions to nurture the citizens.
And work it into how it can be systematically
inculcated. No. So that was not in existence. So let me give you an example that I always give. Take the two popular religions, Islam and Christianity.
Yes.
Imagine Islam and Christianity without the Bible and the Quran. Where are you going to get the guidance to know what you are supposed to do and not do? So the value document, properly stated, clearly stated, that defines who a Nigerian is and the attributes you must find in a Nigerian. The parameters to determine if somebody is truly a Nigerian or not.
Beyond as stated in the Constitution.
Beyond citizenship. You can be a citizen. But to be a true Nigerian, a real Nigerian, there are attributes. If I ask you today...
you've used that thing. I've heard you say that. A real Nigerian.
Yes.
A true Nigerian.
So we want you to begin to ask yourself, what is the difference?
Yes, it's an interesting phrasing.
Exactly. So we are challenging people to say, if there's real Nigerian, so who am I? Are you getting it?
Yes.
So, but if the attributes are stated, so you self-appraise yourself with the parameters that we have all agreed to.
So after you did that finding, you people moved forward.
So we now constituted a national committee to put all of this together. So the minister inaugurated the committee. And so by January 17, 2024, the committee presented its report. So we have a blueprint on the Nigerian Identity Project, which now defines clearly who a Nigerian is and what are the attributes you must have to say I'm a real Nigerian. You can be a Nigerian, but are you truly an embodiment of those values? So that came to be. So we have the documents. So you could say we now have the Quran and the Bible,
you have your own codified
codes of conduct.
Yeah, okay. And what you can use to check.
Exactly. So you can save a place, and somebody can come to me and say, NOA, I've looked at the parameters. I mean, 3 things are missing. And then I begin to ask myself, so that means I'm not a real Nigerian, and I want to be a real Nigerian.
7 institutions of nurturing.
If you like, indoctrination.
Okay.
That's what happens everywhere.
Okay.
So I give the example of Islam and Christianity the other time, with the Bible and Quran. And I said, so now we have our own Bible and Quran, that gives us, define us.
The guidelines.
The same way Bible defines who a Christian is, the same way Quran defines who a Muslim is. So the National Values Charter, that's what we call it. It's a charter, it's an agreement what we have agreed on that must define us. So we now have the National Values Charter.
Okay.
So the National Values Charter has the 2 components. Do not forget, as I said, the leadership must be brought to the table.
Yes.
As well as the followership.
And the leadership must be increased, and not narrowed to just political.
Yes. Leadership wherever it occurs.
Yes.
A permanent ad hoc, no matter what.
Okay.
A leader is a leader. And until you all lead well, we all lead well wherever we find ourselves. Even as a captain in a primary school classroom, wherever we find ourselves, that leadership, we must have that. So we have the 2 components. We have what we call the Nigerian promise. The Nigerian promise is what the country has promised every citizen. And it is incumbent on every single leader, political, economy, religion, wherever, to ensure he, on behalf of the country, he or she, fulfills the promise. And there are 7 components. So those 7 components, 7 institutions around the Nigerian promise. The 7 principles of the Nigerian promise is what they must find in anyone who says he's a real Nigerian. And he has found himself in a political leadership. If those 7 principles are not reflecting in his conduct, his lifestyle, then it's not a real Nigerian. It's not fit to be a leader. Whether as governor or as a driver in a commercial bus or as market leader or as president or whatever leadership, wherever you find yourself, as editor in the newsroom, as the head of chamber.
And those 7 are clear?
Very clear. They are not new inventions. They were there before. Mind you, across the world, there's a common standard for virtues.
True.
So, but each country will have to define its own, within its own context. For instance, when you say justice, the concept of justice is not the same meaning from country to country.
The variations.
Yeah, so you have to define what your own justice means.
Because some people take the death penalty, some people don't feel that is part of it.
If you go to Russia, justice does not mean the same thing as if you go to America or you go to China.
Yes.
Freedom is contextual.
True.
All of these are relative.
So what are the ones you have now?
That's exactly what we have to define, and we have defined it.
Beautiful. And what are? Can you give us?
If I go into that,
we might not. Okay. But is that available?
They are available.
Okay.
They are available. I have the document that I can show you here, and that's the campaign.
Okay.
That we are going to do, and the president is committed to unveiling it in a few weeks' time.
Oh, lovely.
We're going to unveil it.
Okay.
So
within the document, you now have for the leadership.
For the leadership, that is the Nigerian promise.
Good.
So the second component is what we call the citizen codes. That is the codes of conduct. If you're a citizen, as a Nigerian, what are expected of you? So those attributes. So if I say Lanre Isa-Onilu, that was good Nigerian, you can ask me why. The 2 of us will have to refer to those 7 principles.
That are clear.
That everybody knows. So once where I'm able to prove that one of it is, then I'm questioning.
Yes, and once it's clear there, it now shows that I need to up.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we must be able to challenge ourselves, hold ourselves accountable as citizens.
Okay.
So we have those two. So we now call it, because the Nigerian promise has 7 principles. The citizen codes have 7 principles. So we call it 7 for 7. Mm-hmm. The leaders are given 7. The citizens are also returning 7. So, and that is shared identity, shared value system. It's not one-sided. It belongs to all of us. And like I said, it is broadly defined.
But you were talking about how we intend to...
Yeah, that is
the document.
Mm-hmm. So now the principles to convey it to all of us are 7. And so the first one is what we call citizenship studies.
Okay.
A subject in school, which means that from primary 1 to you graduate from the university, every single year you will come across
the course,
and it is compulsory. So that has to be in the curriculum. So you learn what it means to be a Nigerian, both as a leader or as a citizen. So wherever you find yourself, you know what is expected of you. So these 7 institutions, we took to Federal Executive Council in September last year. Okay. And the president graciously approved every single item. And the implementation began immediately. So take, for instance, the first one I mentioned, the issue of curriculum, has just been announced about a month ago by the Minister of Education. It is starting with this academic session, what we call Heritage and Citizenship course. It's now compulsory from primary 1 to primary 6 and SS1 to SS6. It is compulsory. Learning, and it has the civic, the values, the history, the Nigerian heritage, everything now roll into it. And it is compulsory.
Okay.
Now, follow up to that, the Board of Polytechnic and Colleges of Education with NOA, we have a joint committee now working on the curriculum for the Colleges of Education and the Polytechnic, that it will be embedded in their study. And then the NUC, similar exercise is apace, where you are doing your general study in university,
you take a course.
It is there. So when you graduate from the university and you are given a certificate that says you have been found worthy in learning and character, that is the character aspect. You have been molded as a Nigerian. So that is one of the 7 institutions of nurturing. So anybody who goes through Nigerian school, you will be raised as a Nigerian.
So you can't deny that you have been told.
You cannot.
Good.
You cannot. So it's like saying Islam, Christianity, now Bible, Quran, now you have church and mosque. Those are the institutions of nurturing. Mosque and the church. So that is one of the 7. The second one, which I referred to the other time, that the last 3 decades, our children were not provided the kind of guidance that some of us had. No role models in school, no voluntary institutions of nurturing, like the Boy Scout Girl Guides that we mentioned. So because of that, one other institution of nurturing that we are introducing is what we call citizen brigades.
Okay. So
in primary school and secondary school, federal government is going to recruit our children into that brigade, fashioned after Boy Scout Girl Guides, where they will be raised as new Nigerian, getting inculcated with these values right from that formative, stages of their life. And so we are raising them as role models. And so that over the next few years, millions of Nigerian children are members of this brigade who live their life
exemplarily.
So that is one other one. The third one is, look at the cartoons, age 2 to 16 in this country, from home and in school. It's cartoon, 4 to 5 hours a day. And 99.9% of the cartoons in this country are foreign cartoons, foreign content. Giving our children, raising them on foreign values. So we have been raising foreigners in the last 3 decades. So, and the danger is that you are not raising Nigerians, and it means a lot. And if you go to social media, you will see the fallout of that. So, and if you also pay attention as parents to some of the content of this cartoon, you will marvel, you will be shocked. You will know that a lot of damage is being done. So now there's a policy that we call nationalization of cartoon content. We are not banning anything, but there is going to be government investment into that creative sector of animation. So since last year, since the FEC approved it, we have been working with the industry. We just came back last week from the Festival of Nigerian Animators in Lagos, where we also co-sponsor it, and then we are trying to bring them into the center of action so that they continue to produce, they begin to produce Nigerian content based on our values, our superheroes, our stories, our histories, our failures, and our victories, so that people begin to watch cartoons, children from age of 2 that are about us.
And that imbibe and can help push those values.
So the 10-year-old boy in Ibadan, who is being fed with all the stereotypes about the Hausa and the Igbo, or the one in Kano, who is being fed with such stereotypes about the Igbo and Hausa and other tribes, same thing in Abakaliki, for instance. He's being fed with Ofemanu and Mana, or whatever we call ourselves in this country. He has never seen them. He's being raised with such stereotypes and prejudice. But he knows about America, and he has never left Ibadan or Abakaliki or Kano. Because through Spider-Man and Iron Man, they are brought into their own environment. The way they relate with their parents, the way they do their things, their own, ethics, is learning it, and it's not learning our own. So with cartoons, you could be in Ibadan, and you may never step out of Ibadan your first 20 years, but you know so much about your country, about other tribes, the qualities, the good things about them, rather than the stereotypes and the prejudices that we sell amongst ourselves. So we are introducing that, and in the next 3 years, we want to eat 70% content, local content, in the cartoons that our children are watching. So that is.
Now I'm worried that if I allow you go like this, the whole time is going to be taking trying to. Can you just reel them out? You've done 3 now.
So the other one is that as we speak, all government institutions of training, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Civil Defense, the Road Safety, the Police, the Correctional Service, all of them, we are working on the curriculum that they will embed in their training curriculum.
Okay.
Then the national symbols. National symbol is part of the national identity. So we must respect our national symbols. And the national symbols include the national anthem, the flag, the coat of arms, the constitution, the naira notes, the international passports. These are all national symbols. There are rules around them. And these are part of what we are promoting and encouraging, how to treat flag, how not to treat naira, how to, what's the kind of coat of arms, what it means, and all of that.
Let me allow you, but what it tells me is that you have a lot of work passing message across. And you mentioned something just while you were talking about the media landscape being very problematic right now. You have a lot of message. How are you passing these messages to the different groups across different cultures, even across different media mediums?
Yeah, thank you very much. A good question. Why that is not so much of a challenge is that my forte as a communicator is actually in audience, issues.
Okay.
First thing is we have all the audience segment, which is clearly spelled out and defined and profiled. And we know the media habit, the consumption habit of each segment.
You've done that.
We've done that. So now we created platforms to engage each segment. For instance, the educated elite, we have the explainer that comes out every Friday, the newsletter, where everything about government policy is stated. It's for them. We work with 252 radio stations on a daily basis in this country, and they're part of our partners. So when we come up with any message and we drop it on the platform, these 252 radio stations, they take it in all the languages of their broadcast. Okay. So in total, we have 76 Nigerian languages we are using to broadcast on daily basis through these 252 radio stations. And we are still going to continue to grow the number of radio stations. But today we cover every part of the country, but we want to grow the number. So we do that. The same thing with television. We have partnership with them, whether entertainment, whether whatever. Same thing on the social media platform.
Okay.
We're not just relying on the NOA social media handles. We work with influencers, a lot of them, who already have their audience. And so we use their platform to also reach the audience. Now, don't forget that we have this enormous structure. Our biggest strength is the grassroots reach. We have our people in all the local governments. So they do a lot of word of mouth communication, moving around from markets to motor parks, conducting advocacy, doing stakeholders engagement, doing streets, road shows. All this go on daily basis in all our offices in all the local government. So we mobilize them to do all of this, and we equip them with the messages, concise, deliverable, and all of that. So we are working at the grassroots.
So if I'm to understand you now, you've mapped out communication-wise country for the country.
We did audience analysis, segmentation, and then media habit analysis, and then we provide, and then we now build platforms to cater to each taste. Okay. And segment of the audience.
So what I would like to understand now, because a lot of work you've been doing 2 years down, have you been able to measure how much impact you've been able to make?
Yes, we are able to measure, because monitoring and measurement is also a part of what we do on a continuous basis. Okay. Don't forget that we say we get feedback for government. Yes, we also get feedback for ourselves.
Okay.
We started with a baseline study. We knew where we were 2 years ago as a country. We knew what people tell our people, how receptive they were to our people 2 years ago, 6 months ago, and today. We're able to see the difference, and we are able to see the gaps, what we need to do. That is what. We also ensure that we engage professionals to also generate feedback, perception study. So we conduct perception study, and we have a baseline for that, and then we can compare with what perception we are having now.
When you come to the issue of behavioral change, the issue of example or role models, as you put it, is also critical. What is your agency, how is your agency going about tackling that perception? Okay,
so let me give you some concrete examples. Like we have said that leadership is defined broadly.
Yes.
Sometime last year, a monarch in Ogun State was seen at a ceremony with a musician. He used Naira notes to do a gallant and was putting it on the, hangout on it on the musician. And that was abuse of Naira. And he's a leader, a monarch. So we wrote him a letter to say, this is what the law says. Even morality does not support this. And much is expected from you as a leader. You have to grant the press conference to apologize. But it didn't stop there. The Council of Traditional Rulers in Ogun State suspended him for 3 months because of that action. But we have sent signal to many people through that. We do the same for governors, we do for senators. When we see anything, we write you. Don't forget, NOA is not, we don't have prosecutorial powers.
True.
We don't have enforcement powers. What we do is moral suasion. encouragement, advice, mobilize you, give you reason why you have to do things right and whatever.
But is that working?
Working. It is working.
You have the role of helping to shape the culture of what Nigeria would be beyond our tribal definitions.
Yeah.
Some will say that we still need to have tribe, because I think when we're talking, you talk about a detribalized. We need tribe, but we need a national outlook. How do we? What's your take on how we can arrive at that balance?
That's what we have done. You see, the first thing, like I said, you don't just. You must ensure that it fits into our ways of life.
Yes.
We, Nigeria, Africa, and part of Asia, belong to a society the anthropologists call collectivistic society. We all live by group identity. Your group identity could include I'm from Ibadan. And there are some share, even if it's not written down, you say, the reason why you are Ibadan. So there are some traits. I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim.
Yes.
That's group identity. Mm-hmm. So nobody's asking you to drop your group identity. And they are not at variance. They are not completely at variance. What we do, basically, morality has common standard, like I said. Mm-hmm. So what we are now saying is that group identity for Nigeria also must exist. Without I'm asking you to drop your ethnic identity or your religious identity. And they do not, they are not against your national identity. So that when you are charged with responsibility in your community to work for your community, you have your ethos, your ethics, your ways of life within the community.
Yes.
That group identity kicks in within the community. Mm-hmm. If it is in your state, what your state wants from you as group identity, it kicks in. If it is about being a Nigerian, then those things kick in. So a man or a woman has several group identities they carry, and they don't contradict themselves. They reinforce themselves.
What's your major objective? What are you hoping to achieve with that Nigeria National Identity Project?
Yeah, the major or the singular objective is what the president has charged us with, and that is a legacy of creating a unique and shared identity, commonality of characteristics that makes every Nigerian to be proud of who he is as a Nigerian, that flip the coin. Today, the bad boys define us. When you go to anywhere in the world, they use them to define us. So we want to flip it, that the bad boys become uncomfortable because people are able to accuse them, even beyond the shores of Nigeria, to say, are you sure you're a Nigerian? Because Nigerians have told the world who they are.
And shown.
And they are also demonstrating it. So we need to flip it.
Very short. I would like you to just, if you were to talk to Nigerian youths right now, as what would you want to tell them if they had a chance?
First, I've been telling them whenever I talk to them, leaders of tomorrow, no. Leadership, their role starts now. Nobody should ever tell them they are leaders of tomorrow. They are supposed to take up the responsibility now. And that's why we have to create a department newly that we call Department Youth Engagement and Inclusion.
Okay.
That it is now. So they should take charge. They should not sit back complaining. It is their country. They should step up and take charge and ensure that they live by the citizen codes.
Thank you very much. It's been an interesting one. I look forward to the signing of, or the launching, the unveiling, and then to see how much you can achieve, like you said, to change the perception and the image of the Nigerian.
Thank you very much.
Very grateful, sir.
My pleasure.
Well, now we know we have Nigerians on one hand and true and real Nigerians on the other. Very interesting prospect there and very interesting classifications. I can't wait for that document to be unveiled so that we can work towards ensuring that we all build a national identity we can be proud of. Now, I know some values I will expect to see on that document. I don't know about you. What would you like to see? Well, let me know, and also send in your reactions, your comments. Send them to our social media handles and the email address on the screen. Remember, you can watch any of our past episodes on our YouTube channel. Just search for Newsnight under playlist and make your choice. Well, this is where I say thanks for being there. Till next time, bye.